I guess the first question is how to start this. When touring the Gettysburg battlefield, because the first episode was the museum, it's kind of like how you want to do it. The battle took place over 3 days, and I guess chronologically, even though it's not really done very well chronologically. The beginning of the battle is really chaotic because the armies just kind of bump into each other. The Confederates coming down from the north to the south, and the Union coming up from the north. The battle first took place out of town with Buford, a federal cavalry officer, holding them off, but the Rebs come in far more in mass, far more in different size, with Reynolds, the Union general, who shows up, gets shot dead, and slowly the Union is just forced back through town. So a lot of battling actually occurred in the town, and the Union takes up positions on the highlands over on the south and east of town. So it's really kind of confusing because there's not a lot of setup and actually structure to the battle. There wasn't a whole lot of fortifications and lines drawn. But I'll show you what I can do because it was intermittent with some of the other days. Much of the first day battle was confused. Lee himself had very little information. Meade was a brand new Union general, and he was still figuring out things. So it was kind of left to the upper echelons of people. So the Union started up as the Confederates came in, and then as some of the other Confederates started coming down from the north, almost behind the Union, it became just a complete mess, and it almost got routed. The Union almost got routed on the first day of the battle. They were able to save it and to take over Cemetery Hill on the outside of the battle, where they were the top of the Union flank was actually on top where the cemetery is today. Okay, for those of you interested, this is actually where the battle started, on the complete other side of Gettysburg. The town's that way, and beyond the town is where what most people know as the battle, Stone Ave. This is where Buford dismounted his cavalry and slowly did a fighting retreat back to town. Began here in the morning, probably along these fences, as he fell back to ridge after ridge after ridge, slowly heading back. Robert E. Lee's headquarters happens to be located close to this area as well. You can see here, that's to Buford, right? I think I'm reading that right. The Army of the Potomac. They got memorials all through. They did a whole fighting retreat back in. This whole area here. Whole area here where the battle started. Okay, that little unassuming house right there was Lee's headquarters during the battle. He set up shop there. I guess on a clear day you could kind of see the lines on the other side of the town. But he's well back from the battle. Not in any kind of danger. The irony is right over there is where Reynolds gets shot and killed.
That's where the first Union reinforcements to help Buford, led by Reynolds, come in. They set up a big line in order to try and hold it. They eventually get overrun, and Reynolds dies in a few minutes after arriving at the battle. But a nice little assembly house. You gotta wonder what Robert E. Lee was thinking. I mean, first day just kind of happened to fall into his lap. It just really went well. The second day, Union nearly screwed up. Lee nearly took it. Third day, Dad, I just don't know what he was thinking. There's no excuse for that. Yeah, we'll just walk a mile over the open field. You think he would have learned something from Fredericksburg and say like, yeah, I don't think we want to do this. But yeah, they would Buford and falling back from hill to hill to hill. Yeah. Guess someone had a campfire. And it wasn't Lee. Just unassuming little spot. Robert E. Lee held up, came up with one of the dumbest ideas of the war. I mean, really, it comes down to it. It was only one or two mistakes he made in the entire war. This just happened to be one of the big ones. As you can see here, we are on East Cemetery Hill. Over there's Culp's Hill. This is the extreme right flank of the Union Army. What's actually odd is that the Union on this flank was actually outnumbered. Something like 3-1. There were more Confederates on this flank than there were Union troops. But as you can see, they did have elevated positions, and they had some very elevated positions, so it would have been a steep climb to get up here. That statue back there is to Hancock, who was a platoon sergeant or something like that. He ran for president in 1880 and lost to Garfield. You can see these strong positions. The hill was occupied forces at noon. This is where they... Yep. This is extreme right. You can tell why they did it. After they fell back through the town. This is General Major Oliver Otis Howard. Okay. But the battle started over there, skirmishing, and the Union just kept falling back until they fall back here. This was their last line. If the Confederates had figured out how to advance a little more, they would have definitely broken the Union, and the battle would have been a whole lot different. Of course, after fighting all day and marching all day, I would imagine the Confederates were a little tired. They probably looked up that hill and went, God, no, we're done. I can't walk up that.
The one thing you will know through the battles is that each day, the first day and the second day, almost seems like they're going to be Confederate victories. So maybe you can understand Lee's over-eagerness and willingness on the third day to take a really big chance. But anywho, this was just the first day. There's so much more to see. So much more to see. Just looking over out after the battlefield of where the big events will occur in the next few days.